If there is one practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid. No, it's this. Inspire your moderates to vote in the primaries. Get that base excited. You have the numbers. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid of.
The DNC is in chaos, and Bill Maher isn't holding back. Instead of showing sympathy for a party struggling with leadership and direction, he's torching them. On Real Time with Bill Maher, he blasted AOC and the Democrats for failing to learn from their last crushing defeat, and his criticism was absolutely savage. Let's break it down.
People ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for.
Maher didn't hold back. He started by venting his frustration that the very party he supported for decades with his vote, money, and platform has basically iced him out. Despite being one of their most influential cultural voices, Democrats keep dodging his invitations to appear on Real Time with Bill Maher. Why? According to Maher, it's simple. They're scared. Scared of tough questions, of real debate, of having to defend flimsy ideas outside their echo chambers. Instead of engaging, they hide behind safe media spaces. It's proof, Maher argued, that the left has grown soft, insecure, and intellectually lazy. But then he asked, are Republicans any braver?
The Republicans? They show up. And when they do, they take their beating like a man. You went down to Mar-a-Lago and kissed his after that.
Oh, bullshit.
When the Mueller report came out, I feel like you mischaracterized it, and I feel that was shady. But you campaigned for election deniers in 2022. This I do not forgive. The Republicans, including you, January 6th, etc., are the ones who are no longer willing to play by the rules of democracy. Amendment 22, no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's maybe you should have this.
Of course, Republicans have had their moments too. Some comebacks landing sharp and others falling flat, and many of them aimed right at Maher himself. But that's not the real story. The real point is that, unlike Democrats, Republicans actually show up. They take a seat across from Maher, face the criticism, and stay in the discussion even when their arguments aren't polished. That willingness to enter the ring, to risk embarrassment and still speak up, shows a level of grit and accountability. They don't hide in safe spaces. They confront the challenge, and that says a lot.
We'd love to have AOC on the show, and Mandami and Elizabeth Warren, but I can't subpoena the guests. And I can't fix that what the Democrats are scared of more than anything else, I mean, obviously besides gluten, is being primaried from the far left, even though most Democrats are not far left. They're mild-mannered and moderate, at least at my bathhouse.
It's no secret that the far left is driving the so-called woke agenda. What's alarming now is how much louder and more dominant they've become than the Democratic Party itself. Instead of standing firm on principles, the party bends to every demand, no matter how radical. It's like the DNC has completely lost its backbone, choosing to appease rather than lead. What's left is a hollow institution, more interested in pleasing the loudest activists than actually representing the average American. What Democrats truly need isn't another figurehead who bows to the mob. They need a leader with the courage, clarity, and conviction to push back and reclaim the party's direction.
Most Democrats are not far left. They're mild-mannered and moderate, at least at my bathhouse. If there is one practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid.
Bill Maher's observation couldn't be more accurate. In recent years, many moderates within the Democratic Party have quietly drifted toward the center, and some have even started leaning right. These are people who once proudly called themselves Democrats, but now feel alienated by a party dominated by far-left ideology. The truth is, many of them would eagerly come back if the Democratic National Committee had the backbone to push back, even slightly, against the woke agenda's stranglehold. Instead, the DNC continues to tiptoe around the far left, terrified of the outrage and cancel culture that come with dissent. Until the party finds the courage to reclaim its balance and stand firm on reason over radicalism, moderates will keep their distance, leaving Democrats trapped in a loop of appeasement, division, and fear-driven politics.
Do you think that he would have the power and influence to be able to, usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party
I think
nationally.
the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrat socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get.
Bill Maher lays it out with brutal clarity. If the Democratic Party makes Zohran Mani their frontrunner for the 2028 election, they might as well hand J.D. Vance the presidency on a silver platter. Maher argues that Mani's brand of woke socialism could excite Gen Z voters who crave radical change and progressive ideals. But here's the catch: demographics still matter. While Gen Z is growing in influence, they're far from the dominant voting bloc. Millennials, Gen X, and especially baby boomers still control the polls, and Maher believes Mani's rhetoric would alienate them instead of inspiring them. The math doesn't lie. Enthusiasm from the youngest voters can't outweigh mass resistance from older generations. In Maher's eyes, putting the future of the Democratic Party in the hands of a far-left ideologue like Mani would be nothing short of political suicide, a guaranteed win for Republicans, and a disaster for Democrats.
You're engaging with a psycho who all they care about is controlling you. They're very good at diagnosing problems. Yeah. They're very good at figuring out what your weak points are. And that's, I would argue, what a lot of these people are doing.
That's right.
They recognize that if you can focus on these problems, then you can, use that dissatisfaction to gain power for yourself.
Right. To me, Mani isn't offering leadership, he's exploiting frustration. He takes real issues within the system and twists them into emotional weapons, using anger and division as his political tools. Instead of working toward realistic solutions, his message fuels resentment and deepens the very divides he claims to fix. It's the same old playbook: assign blame, stir emotion, and promise the impossible without ever delivering results. And let's be real, socialism, no matter how modern or well-branded, has never led to true prosperity anywhere it's been tried. Yet, many young voters, unfamiliar with its historic failures, get swept up by Mani's idealistic slogans. They see passion and call it progress, ignoring the heavy costs that come later: economic stagnation, loss of personal freedom, and growing societal divides. Mani isn't guiding a movement toward solutions. He's selling a dangerous illusion that history has already exposed, while his followers cheer without asking the hard questions.
It'd be horrible for a guy like you, who you spent your whole life talking about how government tries to do too much, which it does, and spends too much. And here you have Trump, who is the Republican, who is aggrandizing more power than anybody, as we just talked about. And on the other side, you have the guy running in New York, Mandami, right? Okay, who's like a straight-up communist. I mean, he is. He talks about, the things that communists say. I mean, he wants free grocery stores, free buses.
I want him to win.
You want him to win?
Yeah. I think every 20 years or so.
Wait.
We need every 20 years or so, we need a conspicuous, confined experiment with socialism so we can...
While some of us have studied history and clearly understand what socialism leaves behind, we're not eager to relive those failures. So no, we're not rooting for Mani's rise. We're hoping the Democratic Party wakes up before it's too late. The warning signs are already flashing. His policies sound inspiring in speeches, but crumble in reality. His promises stir emotions but slowly erode the foundations of a strong economy and free society. What's truly needed now is clarity. Clarity for voters to see beyond slogans, to recognize that the path he's selling leads to instability, dependency, and decline. If Democrats genuinely care about their party's survival and the country's future, they'll stop him before he turns progressive passion into political and economic collapse. Because once that line is crossed, recovery won't come easy. And by then, the damage will already be done.
Socialist slogan used to be, workers of the world unite, you have nothing to lose but your chains. The new socialist slogan is, trust us, this time it won't be a mess. So, when the post-war Labour government in Britain was about to get started, one of their leading lights was a socialist named Nurian Bevan. He said, what could go wrong? He said, we have a nation bedded on coal, surrounded by fish. It would take an organizational genius to have a shortage of either. In 3 years, they had a shortage of both.
On paper, socialism paints a picture of fairness, a society where wealth is shared, everyone is equal, and no one is left behind. It sounds noble, even compassionate, but in practice, it has always failed to deliver on that promise. Unlike capitalism, which rewards innovation, effort, and ambition, socialism punishes success and discourages productivity. Over time, that destroys motivation and growth. What begins as a vision of equality quickly turns into a power structure where a select few at the top control everything, while the rest are left struggling under false promises. The working class ends up poorer, innovation dries up, and opportunity vanishes. History shows the same pattern from the Soviet Union to Venezuela. Socialism doesn't lift people up, it pulls them down. It doesn't create justice, it creates dependency. What's sold as progress is often just poverty in disguise.
One must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses, we know they are stupid, just don't say it.
Unfortunately, that's exactly how the left often perceives the right, as ignorant, backward, and incapable of critical thought. It's a stereotype that allows them to dismiss conservative voices without ever engaging in meaningful debate. In their view, anyone who supports MAGA or holds traditional values must be uneducated, intolerant, or morally inferior. Meanwhile, they paint themselves as the enlightened class, compassionate, progressive, and intellectually superior. But this arrogance has always been the left's greatest weakness. History repeatedly shows that when you mock and underestimate your opponents, you blind yourself to the real forces driving them. Millions of Americans aren't motivated by ignorance or hate. They're reacting to genuine frustrations that the left refuses to acknowledge. And until the left steps down from its moral high ground to actually listen, it will keep losing ground in a nation that's tired of being talked down to.
You can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers' union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person. You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to both.
At the end of the day, the problem with the Democratic Party and the far left goes far beyond bad policy. It's rooted in arrogance, pandering, and a refusal to learn from history. Bill Maher has been sounding the alarm for years, warning that elevating woke socialists like Mamani would be political suicide. Yet, moderates who once stood proudly with the party now feel abandoned. Socialism may sound noble on paper, but in practice, it's always concentrated power in the hands of the elite while trapping ordinary people in poverty. Still, the left clings to its illusion of moral superiority, dismissing conservatives as ignorant instead of engaging in real dialogue. That mindset has always been their undoing. If Democrats keep chasing applause from activists instead of embracing reason and balance, they won't just lose elections, they'll lose the nation's trust. America needs strong leaders, not timid figureheads afraid to confront extremism.